Hello everybody, welcome to Brave the Wild. My name is Christopher. We are back with another review of the Jeo Tec number 51 tracker style blade. Now, my initial review on this, you can go and check it out. It was okay. There were some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like. Now, the things that I didn't like, I was able to make some changes to. So today's video is going to be all about the modifications of the number 51 tracker style by Jeo Tec. So let's start with the handle. As you can see here from the first video, this is very, very different. I shaved this down. It used to be these little divots right here. I shaved it down and I thinned out the handle quite a bit, and then I really kind of honed this section out right here so that I could have that finger stop if I was holding it with 3 fingers. Of course, I've got a pinky lanyard on there. I probably will end up taking that off and doing a longer lanyard where you kind of wrap it around the thumb and it goes around the hand like this, keep it in place. But that's what I did to the handle. Now, one of the problems with this knife, of course, was the handle that I found. And having shaved this down, because my hands are a bit smaller, yes, it definitely did help. However, the handle itself, being micarta, is still very, very smooth, which, hey, you know, you can't really help that. A lot of knives are made with micarta, and that's the way it is. Now, going to the pommel here, they had this sort of tooth design here that I had complained about because I didn't really see the purpose of it. I thought it looked neat, but as you can see here, what I did was I put this on the sander and put a very, very low grit sandpaper on there. I think about a 60 or 80. Did a 90-degree angle, and now we've got a really, really nice spine right there with which we can use to strike a ferro rod. And I'll tell you, it works really, really well now. I'm very, very happy with it. Before, I had tried it with this section and that wasn't the best, but I decided to make my own. Now, I might just take the rest of these out because I do find that when my fingers are here, my pinky rests on this, and that's not very comfortable at all. So I might just take the whole thing out, but this does work great. Let's move on to the blade now. You may or may not notice that this has been kind of carved down a lot more, and I increased the size of this tooth right here. I like what I did. I like how it's you can sort of draw on sticks now and do feather sticks a little bit different than you could before, so it gives me some more feather stick options. So that's what I did with the blade here. Now, the main difference that I did, and what I really, really like here, is these teeth. Initially, these teeth were basically just like they were very smooth, and they didn't really have any practical use. They looked neat, of course, because that's the tracker style. That's what they usually do. But they didn't have any practical use. What I did was, if you can kind of see this, I put this again on my sander with a very low grit, 80 grit, 60 grit, roughly, and then I just offsetted the teeth here. So I've got basically a pole saw, so it's kind of smooth going this way, and it's very rough, very, very sticky going this way. And I do have to say now, because of that, this does notch really, really nice. Now, of course, you can still notch with this, but it is nice to just be able to take this saw blade and just kind of, you know, run it down a stick, get a notch in 4 or 5 strokes, and then you're done, you're good to go. So that's it. That's the modifications I made on the Jeo Tec. What we're going to do is test out some of those things. This will be a shorter video, giving you guys the opportunity to see whether or not this is a knife that you may want to purchase and modify yourself. Okay, stay tuned. First test with the modified handle. Let's see how it chops. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get my pinky in that pinky lanyard here if I can. I think I made it too small for these gloves. Let's see how this works. Okay, not the best, but that's okay. I'm on the end of it here. My pinky's hanging off. Let's see how it goes. The pinky lanyard definitely helps keep it on the finger. I like that. You really have to watch your angle. You want to try to hit it on this belly right here rather than hitting it at this point, because this point, although it can make good impact, it doesn't offer the same surface area as this does. So you kind of want to angle it like that a little bit. If you play with the angle on this tracker knife, you will get some good solid chopping performance out of it, but you just have to get to know it, that's all. There we go, that's not too bad. All right, let's change the variation here of how we're going to chop. Instead, now we're going to chop right down on this. I like chopping this way because I find it to be a lot safer for me. Again, still struggling with that biting a little bit. It's hard to get that bite sometimes. It kind of just, I feel like it hits a certain point and wants to bounce. It's weird. But now what we're going to do is try something a lot bigger, a lot heavier. This is not as dead as the other branch was, so this is going to be a much harder branch to go through here. Oh, that was a nice bite, hey? Look at that. That's nice. Now we are chopping aspen here, which is a relatively hard wood up here in Canada. The two main trees that grow here are spruce and aspen, with the occasional pine if you go higher up. Now I'm on 2 fingers, so I have to kind of make sure I get myself in the right position. So even with the pinky lanyard, when I end up going from 3 sliding down to 2, that pinky lanyard does a really good job of stopping my hand from kind of flying right off the knife. But in all honesty, the micarta does make it difficult. But I mean, that's common with a lot of knives, so who knows? Maybe if I changed over to wood scales, probably get a lot more grip. I'm pretty much staying on 2 fingers now, but because of that lanyard, it's holding nicely. Let's get that out of the way. There you go. Look at that. For the thickness of the knife, the size of that piece of wood, that's pretty darn good. Now, let's get the pinky out of here. Let's go back into the reverse grip here, and we're going to check and see if I did a good job on that sawback. Here we go. There you go. Well, judge for yourself. There it is. I'll put that back there. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. So that's not too bad. Now, can I cut all the way through something here? I don't know if I'd want to bother trying, but you know what? Let's just have fun with it. Okay, not quite, but you know, that is a really nice nice notch that you can do there, which is fantastic for when you want to make your own tent pegs or other things, you know, notching different things out like this if I want to go like this. I have to say that what I did here honestly took me 5 minutes to do. It was very, very simple. You just have to watch your angles. If any of you are interested in how to create these notches on a tracker knife that you may have, or if you have the Jeo Tec 51, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to do a video on that. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm just going to move this pinky thing out of the way here, and we're just going to go ahead, test our angle, see how it is. Now, I do have the kind of the blade towards me here, which isn't the safest. I can go like this, but either way it still feels kind of awkward. So we'll just try it out, see what happens. The nice thing is I don't have to put a lot of pressure right now because the spine is very sharp. I did a good job on that, so I'm happy about that. Let's go just to the edge here, see what we get. Yeah, we're still getting some sparks on the edge. Now, the problem with the pummel ferro rod striker is it can be more difficult if you want to keep this in place and just move the rod itself. That's what I've found anyways. See, you can do it. A little bit more awkward. You have to be careful about where you're putting your tinder, but it's definitely doable. Let's flip it up now and see what happens when we kind of position it up like this. Again, you gotta be very careful of that blade. I suppose I could put it into the sheath if I wanted to, but I won't. There you go. That's not too bad. Then you get your wood pieces in here like this, and you start striking. I can do this pretty good. I'm not really putting a lot of effort into this right now. So you know what? For a pommel, for a pommel striker, this is good. All right, everybody, one of my final conclusions on the modifications that I made on the Jeo Tec number 51. Well, I gotta say, it was definitely worth the work that I put into it. I think it took me about an hour, maybe 2 hours at the very most, to saw back this, to modify the blade itself, to modify the handle, to modify the pummel. With the right little grinder that you can pick up at Harbor Freight, this is not difficult to modify and get it to be more practical. So, do I recommend this knife now? Yes, I do. I do recommend the Jeo Tec, or Jeo Tec, however you want to say it, number 51, because when you think about the cost of this over the cost of something like, say, the Tom Brown Tracker by Tops, that's a nice blade. The 1095 is really awesome. I find that the blade retention on this is equal to the 1095, but the nice thing with this is its resistance to rust. It's phenomenal. I don't have to worry about this knife. I mean, you look around, it's full of snow, it's full of moisture. I don't have to worry about this. I got to be concerned about a 1095 when it's going to start to rust, stuff like that. I got to take more care of it. So for the money, if you're willing to put the work into this blade, this is a fantastic knife. Yeah, try it out, play with it, put the work in, and enjoy. Get out and brave the wild. God bless.